Hey there, listeners. I'm Tom.
And I'm James, and you're listening to World on the Street.
We're in another episode of our podcast, James.
This is
Number 4.
episode 4. Wow. I didn't think it'd get this far.
Do you know what's really crazy?
Go on. What is really crazy?
We're on iTunes now.
Holy crap. Yeah, you've done a lot of working behind the scenes. You've done a lot of work. I'm really impressed.
We're hosted on Whooshka, which gives us an RSS feed. And then I submitted that to iTunes and we got approved.
And they were like, holy shit, we need these guys on iTunes to boost iTunes' ratings.
Yeah. So to anyone listening, you can now find us on the iTunes podcast app. And if you don't use Apple or you're not a fan of that app, if you're on Android, on our Facebook and on our Twitter, or if you like message us on either the World in a String Facebook or on our Twitter, I'll be happy to send you out a copy of the link. But there's a link you can get, our RSS link, which you can paste into nearly all podcast apps, podcatchers, things like Podcast Addict, apps like that. You can paste that link in, and our podcast will be added to your app, and it will automatically update when we publish a new episode. Which also, I think we're ready to say, hopefully we will now have regular uploads every Friday.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think every Friday.
Because then that gives us the weekend to watch the stuff, which is a bit more time, but then we can record at kind of any point throughout the week, which is more helpful for us.
Yeah, and hopefully make it more regular for people watching as well. So they've got a time to tune in. Are we going to have a specific time of upload?
I don't think that's necessary.
Okay. Cool.
I don't think people will be, sat waiting for it.
No, I think you're right there.
Think just kind of saying Friday will probably.
Yeah.
I think what will typically happen is James will edit it. He'll edit it Thursday night.
Yeah.
Most of the time, and then you'll send it over, and I'll put it up.
Yeah.
Friday, probably usually around lunchtime. Although I'd say, James, I do have to ask you. I'm driving all day Friday this week, so if you could edit it either tonight or tomorrow morning, and I'll get it all ready to upload Friday, and then do scheduled uploading.
Yeah, perfect.
So I'll get it all ready Thursday.
Yeah,
because I'm going to Basingstoke.
Yeah, this is a big car journey.
I'm driving to Basingstoke. It's 4 hours in the car, and that's the longest I will have driven on my own for.
You haven't driven in a while, will you? Because
I've been driving this week, but I don't have a car with me at uni.
No.
So.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Basingstoke.
I had to do a parallel park the other day.
How did that go?
Well, actually, it went pretty well. I was quite surprised. I went for my haircut, and where I go has only got kind of 5 spaces, and they're all on the road. There's just 1 space available. So I was like, well, crap, I'm gonna have to parallel park. And I didn't even have to do it in my test. My manoeuvre in the test was reverse around a corner.
Oh.
So literally hadn't done it since before my test.
Wow. I'm proud of you. I'm proud. Well done, Tom. Have you had a good week back at home?
It's been good, yeah. I came home on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not done a lot. I started work today, a new job.
Oh, very good. I wish I could get a job, but I can't, but sure.
It wasn't great, to be honest.
Oh.
I wasn't a massive fan of the people that I was working for.
Oh, let's hope they don't watch this podcast in the future when you've made friends with them.
And it's also minimum wage, and I feel like it should be a bit higher because it's a fairly successful place.
Can I ask where you're working? Are we allowed to say?
I'd rather not. I'll tell you, but I'd rather not say it on air.
I'll cut this back in now. But I got I phoned them the other day to ask. Because I've been phoning a lot of local businesses asking if they need background music for restaurants, and I phoned casinos and stuff. It was a bit crazy, and everyone was super nice, and they either said yeah we're dead interested, or no, we're not interested, and everyone was nice except one of the places out of 2 that wasn't nice was the place that you're now working at.
What did they say?
They were like, sorry, we have no need for this business. And I was like, okay, cool, thanks for helping. They're like, thanks for wasting our time. I was like, great, thanks boys. They were very rude.
I mean, to be honest, they could probably do with it because literally all that was playing all day was Adele.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That means a lot because you hate jazz.
I don't mind jazz, as I said in the episode. I don't mind jazz as background music. I just
Oh
don't
my
particularly
God.
enjoy sitting and listening to it.
Wow. Well, yeah, I'm good background music.
Yeah.
I've had an okay week. I came back Saturday, I think. I haven't done
Yep.
anything with my week except looking for jobs, applying for jobs, doing some odd jobs, and playing a lot of video games. I watched some E3. E3 is going on as we speak now. I think it's just coming to an
It
end.
is.
Have you seen anything big at E3 that you're kind of excited about?
Sh- um. No.
Okay, good. Same.
So E3 is a big kind of gaming convention. I'm sure most of the people listening will know, but just in case,
Mm,
it's a big conference really, where all the big kind of video game companies announce what they'll be working on, what they'll be releasing in the next year, and also what they're currently working on.
yeah.
I'm excited by one game, Cyberpunk 2077, by the same people that made The Witcher 3, but that's not coming out this year. That was just them saying we are still working on it because it was first announced a long time back. Nothing else has really gripped me, to be honest.
I kind of got a bit excited by the announcement of Elder Scrolls 6, but it was just an
Elder Scrolls
announcement
6,
that they were gonna
yeah,
make it. So we're gonna be waiting. It's gonna be at
probably
least,
3 4 years till
at
that comes out,
least
right?
10 years after Skyrim for them to make another one. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, Skyrim was 2011, wasn't it?
Yeah, so
11, 11,
2021.
11.
It was 11, 11, 11. Wow. Yeah, but E3's been a bit of a disappointment, but I suppose it is every year really now. Should we move on to the album, Tom? Your choice.
Sure, let's do it. So I picked the album.
Hmm.
The album was Guts and Teeth by Old Man Markley.
Hmm.
I picked it because it is actually my favourite album.
Hmm.
I listen to it a lot. I'm a big fan. I also slightly picked it because I didn't think it would be the kind of music James would like.
This is a common trend with your choices in music.
Well, so it is with yours.
That is very true. I think that's more because we have different music taste.
Different
Yeah.
tastes, yeah.
Um. Yeah. Do you have anything to say in general about the album?
Not that I'd rather say now than at the end, really.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good.
You liked the album?
I liked it a lot.
Huh.
I
Hey,
know.
that makes me very happy, James.
I'm glad. I what I liked particularly, I kind of read their little a little about them as a band. They're not very well known, um,
No.
which I like them more for, I think. But the guy was it, is it Ryan Markley? Him himself is playing the washboard, which I found really funny. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed it. We'll move on to the first song. It was called
So, shall we say before we start that we
Yes.
decided to try something different this week? Instead of ranking each song out of 10, instead of giving it a score, because that feels, I've been feeling as I've been scoring songs, that it feels quite
Yeah,
arbitrary and a bit meaningless. And we'll be talking and we'll say like things that we really liked or things that we didn't like, and then we'll just give like every song a 7. So
yeah, yeah.
it's all been a bit meaningless. So what we decided to try out this week, and we'll see if it works or not, is we instead of scoring each song 1 to 10, we've ranked them from favorite to least favorite, with number 1 being our favorite,
Yep.
and in this case number 12 because there was 12 songs in the album, 12 being our least favorite.
Yeah.
So we'll just see how that goes
I
this week.
think it'll work much better. Should we give
Yeah,
rankings
me too.
at the end then, or as we go?
Yeah, we'll just run through it and then we'll say our order.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so the first song, Tom.
The first song is For Better, For Worse.
Hmm. Um,
What did you think of that?
I when I saw the kind of picture, the album cover, I saw the name of the band, I saw the name of the album. I was like, oh shit, here we go. This is gonna be bad. I was dreading it. I clicked play on the first song. I was like, holy crap, this isn't what I expected at all. I expected it to be kind of country, but I expected it to be kind of really angry for some reason, because the whole
Right.
guts and teeth thing. But it was just uh, fast paced. It was upbeat. I enjoyed it. I haven't got many notes for this. I just remember really enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, this one starts off a cappella, and I think
Mm,
one of the most distinctive things about this group is the lead singer. I don't know any of their names. I don't actually really know them as a band. I've got both their albums, and I do
yeah,
like listening to them, but I don't follow them as individuals in a way, if you know what I mean. But
yeah,
the
yeah,
guy's voice is he's got a very good singing voice, and it's
yeah,
very distinctive.
yeah. There is.
It's a very smooth voice, and it's
Mm, yeah, it's good
I think it is very well suited
to the
to this
style of
kind of
music that he's
music.
singing. Yeah, I also agree with that. It kind of his. I've heard voices like it. It kind of the whole feel of the album. You might hate me for this. Gave it kind of reminded me of Mumford and Sons because it was
Yeah,
kind of
no,
folky.
yeah, definitely.
It was a nice kind of fusion. I did enjoy it. Um, Second tune at the bottom.
At the bottom, yeah, this one. So for the first one's quite driving and it's quite fast and it does get you going into it. This one, it
Yeah,
takes it a step back. It's a bit more chilled out.
yeah,
This one, this is kind of the typical song in a way because a kind of running theme throughout the album is the songs being really, really jolly, like the music being very jolly, and the lyrics
yeah,
being really depressing.
yeah,
This song is about being like at the bottom, you're at the end of your rope, everything's gone wrong, and there's no looking up. But the music's
yeah,
all, bah, 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 it really goes and it gets you moving, and it's
yeah. I did like this one a lot though. I think I liked the mix of the dark lyrics and
mhm.
the upbeat tunes. I thought they fit well together. So I listened to the first two with my brother Tom,
Uh-huh.
who I just thought it'd
Yep.
be interesting. Christopher doesn't like this sort of music, but he really liked the second one. He really liked At the Bottom.
Nice.
His words were, "I liked the high bit," which we figured out was the fiddle. But it was
Nice.
nice. Yeah, it was good.
I like the
Um,
fiddle too.
it's good fiddle.
Nobody can
It's...
clip that audio, okay?
I
That's
don't know
not
anyone
allowed.
clipping. Oh, everyone likes the fiddle. The next one was running weight.
Running weight, yeah.
I I'm gonna just say right now, this one was my least favorite.
This one's low down for me as well. It's not the bottom, but it's low down.
It was really low down.
It's very dramatic. This song, I think it's this one. Yeah, this song is about like smuggling drugs. I think.
Wait, is it actually? Oh, it
I'm
kind of
pretty
makes
sure it's
sense.
this one. It's
Running
about
weight. Yeah,
smuggling drugs. Yeah, it is.
I know he says paranoid a lot.
He does. And I don't really know why he's writing about smuggling drugs. I don't know if it's something that he's done. The thing with this kind of style of music is I'm not really sure where the inspiration comes from because a lot of the
Yeah,
songs are very very depressing lyrically, and it feels
yeah.
like this guy can't have had all of these depressing life
No,
experiences. And then this one's about smuggling drugs. And it feels like it's just not the kind of thing you'd admit in an
I don't.
album.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So
very
so
true.
I almost feel as though it's the songs are. I mean, I'm sure they are, but if you view them as almost fiction and like each song is telling its own individual story,
Yeah,
then what I really like about this album, more than other country albums I've listened to, is that the style of the feel of the music playing often actually counteracts the fiction of the song. But in this one, they work really well together. I'm not a massive lover of the song, but I do like the way that
yeah.
the dramatic music, it's quite tense in a way.
It just annoyed me. This
Yeah.
song really annoyed me. It was the simple rhymes that really pissed me off. It was like paranoid, which you then rhymed with can't
Can't
avoid,
avoid.
and then asteroid. I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell's going on here? I'm paranoid that I can't avoid the asteroid. What the hell? It was yeah. It's definitely not my favorite
No.
song by a
And
long
then
shot.
the song that gave the album its name, Guts and Teeth.
Guts and teeth.
I
Tom, you know
don't.
what?
Oh yeah, go on.
This was my favorite song.
It
We've gone from
was.
my least favorite to my favorite straight away, really quickly. Yeah,
Wow.
I liked it.
This is a middle one for me.
Really?
Yeah, this is my number 8 of 12.
Flip and heck.
Um,
That's
I do
yeah,
like it. I mean, the thing is, I do like all the songs on the album. That's my first thing. So even
yeah,
like 12, I wouldn't skip it if it came on. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
This one though, it's got a very raw feeling. Again, I don't know if he is talking
Mm.
about his own personal experiences, but the way that it's sung and the music, it feels very personal, and I do like that. It feels vulnerable in a way.
Yeah. It's good. It's different to the rest. It feels very much more kind of less textured, much more brought back, much more
A bit more intimate,
acoustic. Yeah, more intimate,
like it's being
definitely.
performed for you, not layered up in a studio.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I completely agree with that. I think I've kind of figured out why it's so low on your list because it had a fade out ending, Tom.
It did have a fade out ending. I've written that down.
Oh my God. Oh, if we ever get merch, we're just gonna get fade out on
Yeah,
a
we
shirt, and
definitely
that's gonna
should.
be our merch. You know, like Supreme, but fade out.
Yeah,
It'll be
that's
great.
really funny.
Um, but I really liked it. I think I liked it because it was quite cute. It was intimate. It surprised me that it wasn't particularly like the lyrics were quite dark, but the whole feel of it was quite family-ish, quite
It's
close.
a
But
bit
then it's called
melancholy
Guts
in a
and
way,
Teeth.
isn't it?
Yeah,
This is
but
probably the one that I sing the most. Like I know this one, and that this is the one that kind of, if I'm just kind of humming a song, it tends to be this one.
yeah,
This one or Living and Learning, which is later on. But yeah,
yeah.
just when I was listening to them, it wasn't because what I did was I just listened to it all the way through, and then I like added them to my queue on my iTunes, and I shuffled them
Yeah.
around in the queue until they were in my order. So it kind of it wasn't like I put it in the middle. That's just where it ended up. It was one of those that I didn't move it anywhere.
Yeah.
So I do, I do like it. Do
It's
me
a nice
like you
one.
do
Oh, wow, this was a fast boy. This was
was a
one
fast
fast
boy.
boy. I like the chords and the structure were very typical of a country song. I think it kind of stayed on the same chord for it's what felt like kind of three, maybe 7 bars, and then for the eighth bar it went up chromatically to a different
Right.
chord, which it always feels nice. It always feels like you're leading somewhere. It always feels like you've kind of when you hit the chord after the chromatic chord, back on the ninth or the fourth bar, you're home. It has a very nice kind of classic feel to it. I think this one sounded like a Fratelli song as well.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember which Fratelli song, so I just wrote Costello music down.
This one's also this is a duo.
Yes.
So this is sung him and one of the girls in the band or women.
Hmm.
So I do really like that. I like the duo. It sounds like they're having a lot of fun in a way. The whole album sounds like they
Yeah.
had a lot of fun making it.
I think it is because genuinely that is the music they want to be playing and
Yeah.
performing, which you're always going to be happier about, and you always get a better kind of a feeling of when you listen to stuff like that.
Also, I've written down the plinky plonk makes me laugh. There's an instrument in there. I'm not sure which one, but it's very plinky plonky, and
Plinky
every time I'm
plonky.
listening, it makes me laugh.
I'll go back. I'll listen. We'll figure out
Yeah.
the instrument for you, and then you can buy one and learn it, and you too can go plinky
Yes.
plonk.
It's probably him on the
Oh,
bloody washboard.
I could. Once I'd found out that he played the washboard, I just couldn't get it out of my head of him just sat on a bucket with this washboard, just like biggest smile on his face, just rubbing us like a scrubber up and down, making the most horrible sound, but he's loving it.
Yeah.
He must sing as well. He
He
must
must
do,
do. He
mustn't
must
he?
do. I think they all sing. There's a lot of bits
Yeah,
where there's kind of group vocals
a
in
lot of
there.
harmony. Yeah,
The
yeah,
next
it's
one
quite
is
nice.
Killing Time.
Yeah,
What did
this
you think
was
of this?
very middle of the pack. Definitely, it kind of it just it. I think at this point I was kind of getting bored of the country feel of it. So I
Hmm.
put the same feel. And some of the lines, like the vocal lines, just seemed really odd and strange. Like they cut off at weird points.
Oh, I
I
mean, this is my least favorite. I've written it's
yeah,
a bit generic, which is similar to what you've got. It doesn't do anything exciting.
yeah, yeah. It's hard. It's hard getting a middle tune on an album to stand out though as
Yeah,
well. Because you want kind of your good ones at the beginning or the end or whatever. Yeah.
What did you
Song.
think of
Oh,
songs?
right. I remember you saying this was your favorite song in the
It
very first
is
podcast. But I didn't let that sway me. I listened to it
good.
objectively. I think I listened to it a few times, but I also think it is one of my favorite songs now as well.
It's
It's
really wholesome.
it is. I really like. I've put it feels more personal and sincere, but it is quite a sad song. And then I drew a sad face, and
Oh
she's looking
no.
at me.
I've written it's really wholesome and it makes me smile, and that's why I like it.
Oh,
I think it's just if I'm feeling a bit
I
like I never feel very particularly sad, you know what I mean? I'm always
yeah.
relatively happy. But whenever I'm just feeling a bit down or a bit glum, this is the song that I
Mm.
put on because it just kind of parcels it all up into yeah, you feel a bit crappy, but do you know what? So do other people. You'll feel
Get on with your
better.
life.
I don't feel a bit that way, but just kind of yeah, you feel
Yeah.
down, but that's okay.
Oh,
So do other
it's like
people,
a
and they write these
reassuring hand on
songs.
your
It
shoulder.
is, it is, it's exactly what it's like. It's like a hug. It's a musical hug.
Oh, oh, oh! Can we get that on a t-shirt? Musical hug. That's really wholesome. Oh, Tom.
But yeah, I do. I love that song. I really love it.
Oh, it feels like you've got quite a lot of sentimental attachment to that song. I
I
like it.
possibly do, but it's weird. I So a little bit of an interlude, bit of a story here.
Oh,
Uh, Me and James had a music teacher who came in year 11.
yeah.
We'd had a really bad one, and then this guy came in, and he was really great.
Oh,
A lot of people didn't like him, but me and James both
I
really
miss
liked him.
him.
He did so much for the kind of music department at our school, and added so much, put a lot of money into it, and added a lot of
Yeah,
ensemble groups and stuff like that. And he found
yeah.
in like an upstairs cupboard in our school a double bass.
Oh, this
And at the
story.
time, I played piano, and I was okay at piano. I was like grade 5 or grade
You were pretty
6,
good.
but
Yeah, you were good.
I didn't really enjoy it that much. And the thing is
Oh,
with piano, this is what I've always said, is you can walk into any room and you're not the best pianist in that room.
yeah.
There's always somebody better than you. And so I was like, I don't want to play piano. So he was like, okay, we're doing this ensemble group, like a mini orchestra. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd like to be in it, but I don't really want to play the piano. And he went, well, I found this double bass in a cupboard. I'll put some stickers on the essentially the fretboard for where your fingers need to be, and you can play the double
Oh,
bass. And it made me really happy. And I played the double bass for that whole kind of year. I really enjoyed it. It's not. I didn't continue it afterwards because the double
you
bass
got
is a
really
little
good at
bit.
it towards the end.
I mean, I'd like to think I was semi-competent. I don't love
Yeah,
stringed instruments, and the double bass itself is quite unwieldy. So I didn't really want to continue with it. But I did
yeah,
enjoy playing it, and so when I started playing the double bass, I was like, I want to listen to some double bass. And so me and my dad went on YouTube, and we found a different group to this called Larry and His Flask, who are another group that I like listening to,
yeah.
and it's a similar style. And I found Old Man Markley by going on the related on Spotify to Larry and His Flask. Um,
No.
yeah, so that's where I got it from, and so that was only year 11. So I've only really known this. The point that I was making is that I've only really known about this group for two years.
Yeah. I
Uh,
think that's still quite.
it's a long time, but it's not like I've
That's
got
it's
the
three now.
childhood attachment. No, because I wasn't listening to these guys in year 11. I was
Oh,
listening
that's
to
true.
Larry's Flask, and then I moved on to these guys. So it's been 2 years really.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
Maybe two
think
and a
there's
half.
sentimental attachment
But
there
yeah,
to
definitely, I've definitely
the
got.
music teacher.
It
And
reminds me of our music teacher. No,
oh
it
man, I
doesn't.
haven't thought about him in ages.
Yeah, he was really great. I
Oh,
mean, he's probably been a big. He's probably the only reason why I still do music now. I play the oboe now, basically because
he's
he showed me how much fun you can have as part of a musical group. And
yeah,
I knew that I
yeah.
wanted to keep doing it, and I knew that I didn't want to play the piano in them. So I decided to pick up a woodwind instrument. I didn't want to play the clarinet because you do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to play the flute because I hate them. So the only logical extension of that was the oboe. So
Yeah.
I've played the oboe for 2 years now, and I was in the same wind bands as I was in a wind band with you through college, and now I'm in a
Yeah.
concert band at uni.
Yeah.
Uh, and
I think
that is because of that teacher.
he's had a yeah, I think he's one of the only reasons I kept going with music as well. I mean, I had my external teacher
Yeah,
But if we had the old teacher who we had for a lot of high school, I
I
probably would have
definitely would
given
have been
up.
playing the oboe now.
Yeah, I
Definitely
think I
would
would have
have.
stopped. That's mad. Wow. Wow,
Okay,
what an interlude. In a circle going round, Tom.
in a circle going round. So
Yeah. Mhm.
this is my six. This is my middle one,
Okay, this is
but I
bang
do
in the
really like
middle for
it.
you. Yeah, it's my 10. It's yeah.
This is your turn. This is fairly lower down.
The instrumental break was nice, but with all country songs, you haven't got a very long instrumental break. It's kind of a few bars, and then oh, look, here come the singers again to sing the verse and then end it. It's kind
Yeah,
of like always 2/3 through. It's a little bit of a break,
it's just
but
catchy.
yeah,
It is just quite catchy, and
yeah,
it's one that I definitely feel like I don't know why, but specifically in this one, I think there's quite a lot going on in the music.
mm,
I could just picture them all in the studio, just all gathered around like a couple of mics, like somebody jumping around and banging on a tambourine, and another guy like
yeah,
slapping on his cello or something. I could really picture them just all going for it with this one
yeah,
specifically. But the song itself doesn't do anything particular to me.
yeah. It's a good middle of the ground song. Letterman,
Letterman. Now this one is interesting. This one's got a lot more rock to it.
yeah,
It's got your kit drum all the way through, and there's an electric guitar
mm,
solo.
hmm.
But I don't really like it that much.
No, it's my 11. It
It's my
was.
11 as well.
Oh my God, that's great. Yeah, it's much more. It tries to be more fusiony, but
Yeah.
in an album that's predominantly country, one fusion piece kind of it sounds off.
Oh my
It
god, I
kind of
just.
would be better in an album
Sorry,
on
I
its
just
own.
cracked my knuckles and got a huge spike on Audacity. You probably can't hear it
Oh,
though. Oh well.
oh.
Yeah, you're right. The fusion doesn't fit in a way. It's an interesting
With the
idea, and I
album.
can see that they wanted to play with it,
And if
but
they
it
wanted to
doesn't.
do a whole album of that, that's fine. And
Yeah.
it would work in there, but maybe not on this album.
Okay.
Low Down Blues.
Yeah.
I I kind of had a few quarrels with this one.
Go on.
I feel like you might slate me for this, but I feel like the lyrics lack a lot of meaning. I'm used to listening to the really blues, like really old blues. You kind of like Nina Simone
Uh
and
huh.
Louis Armstrong, that sort of stuff. So it's really, really full of meaning because it all comes from like the heart of the slave trade, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
they've feeling a lot of power for their ancestors and maybe them themselves. So a lot of the blues that I'm used to is kind of with full of meaning. And then this, it kind of just feels like they're doing blues for the sake of doing a blues.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, blues is very emotional, and this isn't particularly emotionally charged. This is just, I feel a bit drained at the end of a long day.
Yeah. I mean, it has equal right to be a blues as any
Yeah,
other blues song, but I feel like it does lack meaning, which is why I think I've placed it so kind of lowish.
that's fair. If you're coming from it from a blues perspective, I've actually this is one of my higher ones.
Really?
Because I can completely get what you're saying about the kind of emotion behind it. But that being
Hmm.
said, um, I don't know. There's just something about the melody that just it really gets me. I find this one really catchy.
Yeah.
It sticks with me. Um,
Yeah. What I noticed about the melody is I hope I get this right because otherwise there'll be some proper music nerd that slates me. But it tends to before the end of phrase, they always kind of land on the flat five of a chord. So that means that they've then got a tritone between the root of the chord and the note that they're singing. And that, of course, is a massive clash, and then it's resolved. I think that kind of to appeals to people quite a lot because it's that sense of resolution, just like with the chromatic chord in earlier pieces. It resolves and it sounds nicer. And I think it also kind of makes it not happy because it's like a blues, but kind of like, happier, if that makes
uh-huh.
sense. But I just
Yeah,
wanted to
no,
get that
that
in
makes
there
sense.
because I was proud of my listening skills. Living and learning.
Yeah,
Yeah, this one's good. Um,
this is number three for me. I like this one a lot.
yeah, it's typical country, typical chords for
It is
country.
very, very typical. I mean, the whole album. It's not like they're
Oh no
pioneers
no
of a
no no
genre or anything like that.
no, definitely
It's
not.
just it is just country, but I feel like it is country done very well.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely modern country done very well.
Yeah,
Especially with such a large group because there was quite a lot
there's
of
a
them.
bunch of them. There's a couple of music videos or like videos from their studio on YouTube. There's like
Yeah,
20 people all packed into a tiny room.
yeah, it's mad. But I think it's yeah, this one's a nice one. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I like
Um,
this one. It's very vocal. I've written on a couple of earlier songs that I'm quite
mm,
impressed at how the voice in some of them it almost doesn't seem like it's the lead instrument. It feels like it's the voice is just
yeah,
part of the mix. This one, that's
yeah,
definitely not the case. This is very vocal,
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
song style.
Yeah, and I think the place in the album is quite a nice place to, because it's kind of like with the Letterman, it's going through kind of like fusion, and then it's gone back to a blues, and it's come straight back to country. It's kind of rooting you back home for the end. It's like a sense of resolution again. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
it's
I
very
think it's
feel
great.
good.
Yeah, definitely.
This one, I do like it a lot because it kind of speaks to the way I try to have my outlook on life in a way where you do just take it all as it comes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just be like, all right, that's happened, that's okay. Drink my
that's
Jack
okay.
Daniels and get on with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love the lyrics on this one.
I'm
This
glad.
is one. This is another one that I sing to myself.
Think to yourself when you're having a bad day
Yeah,
to make yourself all happy again. That's fair. Struggling
this is the last song.
is the last song. Yeah, it was just this. It was seven. It was just
This is my
standard.
seven as well. It
It
is
was
just
yeah,
what it is.
yeah. It was a good upbeat ending. I like
It
the
was. It
ending.
was. I think it's got the catchiest chorus as well.
Yeah, I can see that.
Uh, yeah. This one, I did make a note to say to you that I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry for calling ELO repetitive
Oh
because
yeah,
in listening to this, this is an album that I love, and it's a genre that I'm not super familiar with. I couldn't name many country artists other than the super famous ones like Dolly Parton.
yeah.
It's not something I listen to a lot of, but it is a genre I appreciate and I do call myself a fan of. But I can, in listening to this album in the analytical way that I've been listening to it for this, I can see why
Hmm.
it could be. I was expecting you to say this is repetitive, this is samey, because they are. It does sound the same. There are differences between the songs, but at its core, it's the
Yeah.
same. And I think with ELO, because I'm not just because, but I think it's added to because I'm not musical. I can't appreciate the differences between the songs as well. So it
Yeah.
feels like song after song. But I'm sure to you, who's been listening to ELO since you're a kid, the
Hmm.
differences between the songs are probably very stark to you, and you can really it doesn't feel samey, it doesn't feel repetitive because the differences are there. So I did write
Yeah.
down apologise to James for comments on ELO because I was quite harsh. I did
Oh
kind of get a bit shouty last week.
no, it's okay. I enjoyed it. It was good. No, I think I haven't felt this yet of an album getting other than I suppose Dave Bird's album. Um,
Yeah. What
getting
about Adele?
too repetitive. Oh God,
Adele's
please!
super repetitive. I like Adele, but I can't listen to more than like two or three songs.
I bet you can't listen to Adele anymore now. Holy cow!
No, not after today's work. Jesus.
Oh my God. Should we do our rankings?
Yeah.
I'll let
Uh,
you do them.
I'll go first because I know it, and then you can
Yeah,
compare. Okay, so my favorite is Songs, as I've said.
yeah.
Then my number two was Do Me Like You Do.
Hmm.
That's my second one. Number three was Living and Learning,
Yeah,
and then number four is Low Down Blues.
yeah,
My number five is For Better For Worse, the first song.
yeah,
My six is Inner Circle Going Round.
yeah,
Struggling is my number seven.
yeah.
Guts and Teeth is my eight.
Hmm.
At the Bottom is nine.
Hmm.
Running Weight is 10.
Hmm.
Letterman is 11. And then my least favourite is Killing Time.
Oh my God, we've got quite a few the same actually, or
Have
definitely
we?
very close locations. I said already, Guts and Teeth is my favorite. That's my number one.
Yep.
Songs is number two, which you had as number one.
Nice.
But they were very close. At the
Yeah.
bottom three, Do Me Like You Do four, For Better For Worse five.
Oh,
L-
nice.
yeah, it's weird that. Living and Learning six, Struggling seven, Killing Time eight, Lowdown Blues nine, Inner Circle Going Round 10, Letterman 11, and Running Weight 12.
Nice.
But
That's pretty good.
yeah, I found it hard grading them in order because they were all quite. I did enjoy, other than I suppose a few at the bottom there. I like the
Yeah.
10, 11, 12. I wouldn't skip them if I was shuffling them. I think I'd listen to them all the way through.
Oh, I'm
Definitely.
glad you liked it.
I think I'm gonna have to add them to my playlist now.
Excellent. Now, this I don't think I'll necessarily do this on the podcast, or not for a while yet, because I'd rather go into some different genres. But I would recommend
Yeah,
listening to some Larry and his Flask, maybe
yeah.
Hobo's Lament, because you said that at the very start. You said that from the name and the album art, you thought it was going to be quite angry, and Larry and his
Oh,
Flask is quite angry,
oh
but
dear.
still quite musical. It's not angry and
Hmm.
it's just shouty. It is still quite musical, but it's got a lot more anger behind it, I think.
Yeah.
I'd maybe give a couple of their songs a listen, just to
I
see
will
what you think.
definitely
They
try
don't
them.
have proper albums. They've only got a couple of EPs, so they're quite short.
Really? Oh,
Certainly, Hobo's Lament is short. Maybe Pandemonium's a full album. That's longer. And then the second album from these guys, from Old Man Markley, it's called Blood on Our Hands, I think. Uh, I maybe as a whole prefer that album. It's called Downside Up,
yeah.
and I feel that's got a lot more of the personal style. It feels a lot less kind of studio recorded.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think you might like that.
I'll
Downside
have a
Up.
listen. Downside up. Okay, I can listen to that. That's really cool. Should we move on to the film?
Let's move on to the film.
Annihilation.
So yeah, the
I
film was Annihilation.
Jeez, I don't know what to think of it.
It was
I
odd.
really don't. It was so strange. Oh, all the way through, I was like, this is definitely a book. And then at the end, where it said based on
It
a book,
is,
I
yeah.
was like,
I was wondering
yeah,
what it was based on as well.
because you could. I don't think that was like you couldn't make a film like that straight. I don't
No.
think it was very, very confusing.
So the book is
And
by Jeff Vandermeer,
yeah, I'd
who
never heard
I've
of him.
heard of. I have heard his name, but
Mhm.
I couldn't name anything that he'd like written.
Well, now you can.
Yeah, now I can. But I think he's supposed to be quite popular.
In kind of in the sci-fi world.
I think so.
Okay, that's weird. Because you read a lot. Um,
Oh, I've been reading a great book recently, but this isn't the time to talk about it. But it's
no.
called. Actually, I don't know what it's called. I can't
Oh,
remember if it's called Mistborn or if it's called Fallen Kingdom. But it's great.
okay. It's one of those.
Um,
Yeah, but the film was strange. It did a lot of these. It jumped around a lot, didn't it? There was a lot of
yeah,
flashbacks and flash forwards. So it starts with Natalie Portman
it
and
was.
her character.
I'll just talk a little bit more about the production because
Yeah.
it was directed by Alex Garland, who
Hmm.
hasn't done. Oh, he's done a fair amount actually. So he's probably best known for Ex Machina, which he did a couple of years ago,
Okay. Yeah.
2015, and that was Scarlett Johansson and Oscar Isaac. And I think he does really like
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
sci-fi kind of supposedly supposed to make you question your own not morality, but the way that you look at things.
Yeah.
That was his directorial debut, was Ex
Ex
Machina,
Machina.
and
Wow,
then
that's a
this
big one.
Annihilation is the second film that he's directed.
Okay.
And so this was Ex Machina was quite indie,
Yeah.
and then this was Paramount. So this was kind of his
Yeah.
big debut, really. But he was a writer on a few things. He was one of the writers on 28 Days Later. The
That one where he cuts his hand off.
yeah, no, that's isn't that 127 hours or something?
Oh
28
God, it
Days Later
is.
is the
Yeah.
zombie film, I think. And then he was
Okay.
also the writer on Dread, the Judge Dredd film, which I've not
Right.
seen, but I
Right.
have heard is quite good. So he's got
Okay.
a relatively small but quite strong resume. but
Yeah.
this was his first studio film, I think. And I read, and basically what happened in the UK, I don't know about America, is but
Hmm.
it was obviously it's Paramount Studios, which is an American company, and for foreign distribution outside America, they decided that they just weren't going to sell it to cinemas and that they were going to do Netflix only distribution, which is kind of a bit of a fuck you to the director in a way. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really quite scummy.
Yeah, I was gonna say because when I saw the Paramount thing come up, I was like, wait, but this is a Netflix original. I was
Yeah,
really confused about it. Um, I'm glad that's figured out.
but
Um,
they didn't we didn't know this going in, which probably would have helped us a little bit. But the reason
yeah,
that Paramount didn't distribute it uh, in foreign markets overseas is because they deemed it was too cerebral, too
sorry.
intellectual.
I had to ask what that meant the other day because I had no
Yeah, it was
clue.
quite funny. Uh,
Um,
so let's what did you think of it? What score did you give it?
I didn't know what score to give it. As a film to watch, I, I didn't necessarily enjoy it, so I'd give it like a 4.
Right.
But concept wise, I suppose execution to some extent, I could see it being quite high and being like a 7 or 8, but I didn't enjoy it personally.
Okay. Now I'm similar, but almost the other way around. I give
Okay.
it, I don't know, probably like a 6.5 to a 7,
Mhm.
and it would be an 8.5, like an 8 to an 8.5, if it just didn't have the last half hour. So let's talk about it kind of from the beginning. So yeah, it started out with like her in a room being interrogated, and the whole film is like her explaining to a guy what happened
Yeah.
in the shimmer. So the concept is this like bubble, this big soap bubble forms in America, and it's expanding, and the people that go in don't come back out, and they can't get any radio signals through. Blah blah blah. And Natalie Portman's
Yeah.
husband, Poe Dameron.
Oh my God. I was so surprised when it was him. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe it.
I've got. Is her husband Poe? It
I
is.
so I wrote the same thing. Oh my God.
I love him.
That's mad.
I love him to pieces.
Yeah.
But
I think he's good.
her husband is like an army man, a marine or something, and he goes in and she doesn't hear from him for a year, and then he like turns up in her house and he's gone doolally, and then he starts like coughing up blood and going crazy. So they go to the hospital and they get taken to this government facility,
Yeah.
and from there she goes in. What's her character's name again? I can't remember.
Lena, isn't it?
Lena. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She gets taken in, doesn't she? Oh, yeah, they take her off the ambulance as they're going in, and they kind of like this woman, the psychologist, sits down with her in like a prison cell with a few guards around, and she's like explaining everything to her, and they kind of tell her about this mission, and she meets some of the people that are about to go on the mission, and they're all kind of female scientists, um, and then Natalie Portman was like, oh shit, I should also join this mission. She wasn't forced to, but she wanted to join the mission to um, go and figure out what was going on at the lighthouse
Yeah.
at the center of the shimmer.
So we've only got kind of 15 minutes left, so I'm hesitant to just kind of go over the plot points. But the
Yeah.
stuff that I really liked about it, um, when the comet, I really liked a lot of the special effects. There's one in particular that I hated, and I thought it was really odd, and I'll get to that later. But
Okay.
a lot of the special effects look really cool. Where the comet comes in at the start, in its kind of trail that it leaves, there's a kind of rainbow effect, and this kind of
Yeah.
rainbow shimmer was really pretty and was all the way through. Was really great.
Hmm.
A lot of the cinematography was interesting. I wouldn't necessarily say I loved
Yeah.
it, but it did do a lot of stuff. There was a really cool shot of her and Poe kind of at the dinner table when they were holding hands, and it was
Through
filmed
the water
through the
glass.
water glass, which made their
Yeah, that was
hands
nice.
kind of be reversed and kind of mesh into each other. And that was, that kind of interweaving is quite vital to the plot. It's all about that kind of refraction and interweaving and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that was a really cool, almost foreshadow at the beginning.
Hmm.
A lot of this film was really, really creepy.
I got creeped out a lot by it. I think it was just the people that
It was very creepy. There was very long stretches with no scoring whatsoever.
I did it have any original scoring? I completely forgot to listen to it, but I couldn't
Uh,
hear any.
I wrote down I'm enjoying the lack of scoring unless it's a full song. There were a couple of sound cues like
Yeah,
stuff like that, which is just atmospheric, and I actually don't really
yeah.
like them that much, but they're in every film. Um, but there didn't
Mhm.
seem to be a lot of original scoring, which I really liked in this film.
Yeah, it definitely added to the feel that I think the director was going for, which
Her
is
and
good.
Poe chatting on the kitchen table, and it was only ever Poe was a lot of the time was only kind of half in frame,
Hmm.
and the
Yeah,
dialogue was very sparse, and it was very unsettling. I was kind of feeling really awkward, and I really liked that in a film.
yeah.
And then a lot, like every time the psychologist lady, Dr. Ventress, every time she spoke, it was really creepy. She was a very creepy person.
I really didn't like it. I
And that
got,
was one of the things I really liked about the film. Like I
oh
didn't
yeah,
like her, but as a
yeah. As a
character in the
character,
film,
she was solid.
she was very interesting, and I loved the. As I say, I loved. It was just under 2 hours long. I think it was about an hour and
Yeah,
45. I
yeah.
loved the first hour and a half where it was
Hmm.
just sci-fi, kind of horror, kind of thriller. I was
Hmm.
drawn in. I was sucked along at every turn. I was invested in all the characters. There's only really a cast of five, and they all did a bloody bang up job. Natalie Portman
Hmm.
was fantastic in it. Really incredible acting, and none of the others were bad. They were all very very good. I don't know any of them. I didn't. The only person I
Other
recognised was
than
Poe and
Oscar.
Natalie Dormer. Natalie Portman.
Yeah, it was the whole film was kind of kept very, it felt very secretive, but it wasn't really. I think that was kind of the creepy feel. So
Yeah,
like the whole Natalie Portman keeping her husband being in the shimmer kind of like a bit hush hush.
yeah.
And the psychologist, you find out at one point she's got cancer and she's basically just
All,
she's got,
yeah, all five of them that went in were kind of messed up
yeah, they had something not
in
wrong
a
with
way.
them, but
Yeah.
something to stop them wanting to live their life for some reason.
I'm looking, and we're at 10 minutes left, and I don't think I'm going to be able to fit everything into the next 10 minutes. So this is just a bit of a pre-warning that this one might run a little long. Just to
Yeah.
kind of people listening, this one might be a little long. It shouldn't be too long, but we'll
No,
kind
we'll
of
be
crack
fine.
on. There was a lot.
Um,
There was a lot of really gruesome stuff in here. There was a lot of stuff I was very surprised was in it.
but what like the CGI alligator
Yes.
was awful. What was it doing? It looks so out of
Yeah.
place.
The CG was weird in this film. So the alligator looked odd and weird, but then when they killed
But
it and it was a practical effect then and it
it
was a
looked
model, it looked really good.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
also one that I loved, the special effect I loved the most was that like flower skeleton in the swimming pool. That was so good. I would buy that prop and put it somewhere in my house. It was amazing. It
Really?
looked so. You really got the sense that it died in agony. The guy died in agony. His jaw was like wrenched apart, but it was also
Oh
so
yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
with all the flowers and everything. I obviously I literally I paused the film and I just stared at it for a bit because I just thought it was so pretty. I really loved that special effect.
Yeah, I liked
But
the robot dude at the end, like the alien dude. I thought that was really nice.
I thought it was okay. Yeah, you could tell that a lot of the budget had gone on the 2001 kind of light
Hmm.
show. Are you
Yeah.
familiar with 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Not at all.
Okay, well that's a classic kind of sci-fi film. And
Yeah.
there's a bit in there which is like 15 minutes of a guy going through a black hole or something or a wormhole, and it's just flashing lights and like a light show on the screen. And it
Yeah.
was very
Yeah.
similar to when she went down into that cave and there was a thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I get you. I still think it was really cool. I liked it because there's been worse CGI like
Yeah,
that.
there was
Um,
a lot of there was a lot of stuff that was really gruesome and looked very real. That when they cut into that guy's
mhm.
stomach and his intestines were like moving around like
Oh, that was
snakes, that was difficult to watch.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
very impressive. And then also, um, when Anya, I think her name was, with the like bear thing, when it ripped her jaw off.
What?
In the house when when the bear came in that was
Okay, yeah,
speaking with
sorry, you
Cass's
lagged out.
voice. Oh right.
Yeah,
When that bear thing ripped that girl's jaw off.
yeah,
That was
yeah. I remember
very
that.
gruesome. That was very gory.
The
And kind of came out of nowhere in a way. I was very impressed by those special effects.
Yeah, a lot of them were good. I liked the whole. There's kind of this bit. It's the way I saw it was leading up to the end of the group, but it was coming up to the start of Lena's adventure by herself, basically. So
Yeah,
they all started like turning on each other, like in tiny little ways at the first, but then
yeah.
it leads up to that one girl just going absolutely crazy and tying them all to chairs and stuff.
Anya, yeah, it just went mental.
I I thought that was really nicely done. I like the way it built up until she actually did go crazy.
Yeah. And then that thing with the bear coming in, and when the bear was in the room with the three of them and was kind of growling in Cass's voice saying, "Help me,"
Yeah,
that was very powerful. I mean, that was
it, I think that was the
incredibly
hardest
impressive.
bit to watch.
It was very tense, really very tense.
Yeah,
Uh,
that whole sequence of events was very nicely done.
the bit that I mentioned earlier that I wanted to bring up that was my least, the bit that I just thought wasn't, I don't know what it was, when Cass got bitten by the bear in the compound and it like grabs her by the arm and throws her away.
Yeah,
There was something really weird about the editing in that space. It felt like they'd had to cut out a bit and just kind of shoved that in, and the CGI
yeah,
of the bear was really bad at that point, and none of them seemed to react to it naturally, and there was just something really jarring right there. I don't know what it was. I
yeah,
watched it a couple of times to see if I can figure it out, but it just kind of, it doesn't seem like it's quite time yet for it to grab her, and then it does, but then they don't react to it properly for a
yeah,
little bit
yeah.
later, and it
I
feels like the
understand what
shots
you
were in the
mean.
wrong order or something. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, that'll have been editing though, wouldn't it? That wouldn't have
Yeah,
been the
yeah, yeah.
director. What do you think? If this is the director's kind of
I'm excited to see
debut,
more from them. I mean,
I'd like him to build up a bit more of a repertoire.
so
Um,
the book that it's based on is book one in a trilogy.
oh,
And so I think, but the guy said this is the only one he's adapting. He's not doing three. He made this as one story. But I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised if the trilogy, the first book, as you said, it was kind of the end of their story, but the start of her solo story.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Solo a Star Wars story. No, um, I wouldn't be surprised if the trilogy is that way. Like that was just book one, and
Yeah,
then books two and three are about her and about whatever this kind of alien life is.
yeah. The ending was very strange.
Was very
The
strange. I didn't like it much at all.
I didn't, but maybe it's open. It is left very open, I
Obviously, it's very
suppose.
metaphorical. Obviously, it means a lot.
Yeah,
But we were specifically watching it analytically. I was looking out for metaphors. I was like, when we kind of got to the lighthouse, it all looked very, there was those big tunnels with light at the end. And whenever a character goes into a tunnel in a film, I always feel like, okay, how is this a metaphor for birth? Because it nearly always is.
yeah,
But I just couldn't. I don't know. I just couldn't get it. I was
yeah,
left that whole kind of last 30 minutes, 15 minutes. I was thinking, what am I missing? Rather than just enjoying the film.
yeah. Do you
And I
think
think
if
that
you
did
weren't
detract from it.
looking at it analytically though, you
I
would
think I'd
have
have even less clue.
really? I think
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I agree because it it was a tough one to understand. It was a really tough
It
one.
was cool. It was still done very well. It was still engaging to watch, but I was also just kind
Yeah.
of going, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
Uh,
that was constantly my reaction at everything happening.
I have a question that you might
Go
be
on.
able to help me with. I don't know. I might have just missed it. But
Yeah.
every single one of them, including the like skeleton dead body in the pool, and her husband,
Yeah.
and all of them, had that like
Yeah.
eight tattooed on their arm.
Had the what, sorry, you cut
It
out.
was an eight,
An
the number
eight.
eight, but it was like a snake in an eight shape, and it was tattooed
Okay,
on their arm, and they all had it. And there were some
I didn't
shots where it
even
was like the
notice that.
focus of the shot, but it was never explained, and I couldn't find anything about it online either when I
Maybe
finished.
it's something that I don't know.
I'm not
Maybe
sure.
wow.
I was
But
expecting it to have some significance, and then it never did. It never came up. If any of you
maybe
know, tweet at me because I'm intrigued.
tweet the podcast because I also want to know now, please.
But
Yeah,
I thought
that's
that the
good.
ending was super cool. I thought that the her kind of fighting with that alien version of herself, where it was just
I thought that
copying
was
her,
really
was
nicely
really
done.
cool. When it was pushing her against the door, I felt
That was
claustrophobic and I
powerful.
felt tense. It
Yeah,
was very impressive. And then
yeah,
the way that she got it with the incendiary grenade,
yeah.
it was cool.
It was good. Um, but I always whenever there's films and the hero gets away, I'm always kind of like, oh yeah, but it would have been better if she just died.
Yeah,
Like I would
yeah.
have felt like it would have been more powerful, and it wouldn't have led to the whole kind of meeting Kane again and being huggy and being like, what the fuck's going on here,
So what
kind
I
of
wrote
thing.
down as my kind of wrap up at the end was
Yeah.
okay. So coming straight out of it, I really enjoyed the whole thing, right up until the lighthouse. I thought the performances
Mm,
by all cast members were incredible. It was the best I've ever seen Natalie Portman, and the directorial style and editing worked really well to create an otherworldly, uncertain feeling. The film was full of suspense and pulled me along at all times. But when she reached the lighthouse, it started to unravel. Her performance was still incredibly strong, but the 2000-esque ethereal light show in that 10-minute circle dance, it really did go on for ages. Between
yeah.
Portman and the thickest oil spill I've ever seen, just confuses me. I was specifically watching it to keep an eye out for symbolism and metaphor, and even though I'm sure it's there, it eluded me, which meant the final 15-20 minutes of the film were just confusing. So, what I did then was I watched some video essays and I read some articles, and the general consensus seems to be that you remember that speech that Dr. Ventress gave her about self-destruction and
Yeah, and not
humanity's self-destructive
suicide.
nature, and all of
Yeah.
the characters in the film are self-destructive. We don't necessarily know why for all of them. Like the husband is taking riskier and riskier missions. We don't know why. She's
Yeah.
having an affair, which is obviously destroying her happy relationship,
Oh,
her happy marriage. It's
yeah.
self-destructive. The Venkman or Ventress has got the cancer and is taking unnecessary risks by going into the shimmer. There's a lot of self-destruction, and basically
Yeah.
what the kind of consensus is that the alien thing and the way that it's dealt with is it's all about kind of how we're destroying our environment and we're not allowing things to change and to move on and we're being scared of change. It
Mm,
seems to be very kind of eco climate centric, a lot of the interpretations. And one of the
yeah.
more interesting things that I read was how when she grabs hold of the oil spill and it kind of starts looking like her,
Yeah.
then when she kind of sets it on fire, its reaction is to go down back into its base and kind of set fire to its whole base. Was the when it grabbed her, it took on some of her characteristics, including that inherent human need for self-destruction, which is
Yeah.
why whereas before it was just changing and growing and making things not necessarily better but different, it was encouraging differences.
Hmm.
Once it had touched her, it just started to destroy. And that was one of the things. But I don't know. In a way, I feel like it's not really a deep enough topic to have such a confusing ending centered around.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
find I couldn't find anything from Alex Garland about the meaning, but I did find something from Kurt Vandermeer, the writer of the original book, who said that he interpreted the ending of the film as being about assimilation and changing everything to be the same. But I'm not really sure what he meant by that, to be
Okay.
honest.
I would have never got any of that
No, exactly. I
in a
wouldn't have got any
million
of it
years.
either. And I think that is a. I don't know. I think it's
Maybe,
interesting when
maybe,
films have a subtext like that,
yeah,
and it's something that you do need to watch it a bunch of times to pick up on video essays. But it only
yeah,
works if there is also a kind of overtext, something much more obvious to pick up on. Whereas in that one, the
yeah,
overtext itself, the direct meaning of the film, was too vague and it was too
yeah,
mystified for me to
yeah,
enjoy that last 25 minutes, which is why the film's. I think if it had just been a straight up, no specialties kind of action thriller slash horror, as the majority of the film was, I would have
yeah,
enjoyed it a lot more, but probably wouldn't have watched it. I mean, I wouldn't have watched this if you hadn't suggested it.
yeah. I
It
expected it to
looks
be
like one of
like an
those.
actiony sci-fi film.
Yeah, it looks like one of those kind of Resident Evil-esque things that you just
Yeah,
scroll through
yeah,
on Netflix. It's like, oh, it's got a hot girl as the lead. It's just gonna be an excuse to watch her get more and more undressed as the film goes on.
yeah, yeah,
Like that's what a lot of those films are, and I don't like it as filmmaking, and I don't find the films enjoyable. But actually,
yeah,
this film it wasn't anything like that at all. All the protagonists were women, and
yeah.
none of it was about objectifying, or it wasn't written as like
No,
male fantasy or anything like that. It surprised me a lot. The performances were all very strong. The filmmaking was great. It was genuinely good filmmaking. I just didn't enjoy that kind of almost too subtle direct meaning
yeah,
they put in there.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a nice place to leave it. Shall we
Yeah.
get
Have you got
recommendations?
anything? You got any closing thoughts on anything that you'd like to say? Anything you'd like to say
No,
right
I
at the end?
think I can't follow what you've just said. It was beautiful. I'm in tears. It was great. Yeah. So I'm choosing the album this week, and
You
um,
are.
I hate to do this to you, but I'll choose a jazz album once every
That's
month.
okay.
Um, but I'm going to choose Cannonball Takes Charge by Cannonball Adderley. It's a shortish one. It's only
Sounds
52
pretty
minutes.
funky. Oh my god.
It's hard finding one that's under an hour 10.
So I've kind of struggled to come up with a film really. I've got a
Yeah.
couple of options.
Hmm.
One is if in I think it was episode 1 or episode 2. We were talking. It was
Yeah.
episode 1. So we were talking about I don't feel at home in this world anymore, and you were talking
Yeah.
about the naturalistic dialogue, and I was saying that there's a film I've seen that is almost it's that but to the extreme with the naturalistic dialogue, and I couldn't remember the name. The name of that film is Primer, and I'm
Okay.
interested to put that forward, but that is another kind of mindfucky one, and I think
Oh
that's not
God.
necessarily what we need directly after Annihilation. Which
Yeah.
so, and I only watched Annihilation yesterday, so I only knew that was mindfucky yesterday. So I don't have anything right at the top of my mind. So I'm gonna suggest Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead.
Oh my God. What the hell is this?
It's not on Netflix, but you can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
Uh,
Is it what? Is it like what? Is it like a YouTube film?
no, it's Peter Jackson who directed Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings and
Rings.
The Hobbit, but it's
Yeah.
Peter Jackson before he did anything good.
So is
And
this a bad film?
it's the film with the world record for the most fake blood used in one scene.
Oh my God. I'm really scared now. I'm not a
It's
big fan
amazing.
of
It's
bloody
a zombie
scenes.
film.
Oh
It's
God.
amazing. It's New
That'll be
Zealand.
our second zombie film. That'll be
It's
our
in New
second
Zealand.
zombie film
Second
down under.
Australasian zombie film.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so good. I've watched it like 5 times.
Oh
Me
my
and
God.
George Hewlin watched it over Skype one time.
Yeah.
That was my first experience with it.
Did George suggest it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Holy crap. We need to watch The Room as well at some point. I feel like that would be a
Oh
good
man, I
choice.
love The Room. I've seen The Room so many times. I've seen it in cinemas.
Seriously? You've seen it in the cinema?
Yeah.
No fucking way. That's mad. Okay.
Let's wrap up there then. So for next week, we're going to listen to what was your album?
Cannonball Takes Charge by Cannonball Adderley.
And we're going to watch Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead, directed by Peter Jackson. Thanks for listening to World on a String. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at WAS Podcast, and you can also find us on iTunes.
Well Done a String is hosted by James Curgenven and Tom Joshi-Cale. You can find me on Twitter at James Curgenven.
And you can find me at AceOrTerra1. All music on the show is original music by James Curgenven.